Hey y'all, I see Jake was about to start talking there. It's not your channel, Jake. It's not your channel. It's
Take a
mine.
back
It's
seat,
so
Jake.
ingrained.
It's Thursday. It's the first. Nope. It's the third Wednesday of the month, which means it's time for Mythos Investigators. We're a little bit late this month, but we had some busyness going on. We just got done with game week a couple weeks ago, and then we had some other schedule conflicts that we wanted to avoid. So here we are. It's a little bit late this month, but we are ready to play some Call of Cthulhu. So we'll get to that in just a minute. But starting off, just a quick reminder for here on Big Bearded Nerd, we have tomorrow night, International House of Minis, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Join me and Keel and Lloyd and Petra as we paint tiny things from all around the world. On June 6th, coming up, we have the return of Star Wars Mercenary Tales with our friend Neophet Jay running another one shot. That'll be the last episode of season 1. We're going to take a short break and come back to you end of summer, early fall with a new season and some new plans for Star Wars. So yeah, that's what we've got going on here. Just a couple of quick reminders for you before we get started. We are playing Call of Cthulhu. This is your content warning message. We are going to deal with violence and adult themes, and some pretty harsh stuff can happen in these games. And if that's not your bag, cool. Thanks for stopping by. If you need to duck out, perfectly fine. We understand that. We got plenty of other things we'd love to have you stop by some other time, but we just want to make sure we have talked about all of our lines and veils and what we're okay with as players and the keeper, and we want to make sure that you as the audience feel safe here as well. So if you want to duck out, please do. We still love you, and we'll have you back here for something else sometime soon. And then the last thing, as we talk about on all of the streams here on the mini Terrain Domain channels, we want you to know that you matter. You are not a critical failure. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. We want you here, and we want you to get help if you need it. And to that end, you will always be able to come here, type the word or the chat command !help in the chat below, and some resources will pop up for you. I have it on an automatic timer. Every 30 minutes, even when I'm not online, that will populate through. So if you ever forget the chat command, you can still find that here. So mental health and mental health awareness is something that is very important to me, to all of us here. And we want to make sure that you know that this is a place you can come to for help if you need it. So we're glad you're here. If you have stuck around through my yapping, then hopefully that means you are ready to join us on this adventure. I will turn it over to Jake.
I can talk now.
You may talk now.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, just to emphasize what Dwight already mentioned about this. We have discussed our lines and veils, but it has also been a long time since we've played. And just as an example for ways you can check in with your players, for a content warning, we know that there is going to be psychological horror throughout this game. There's also body horror taking place. And those can happen without warning. A reminder to all of you players that as part of our safety tools, we're using the red light, green light. And if something comes up and it's just too much, you can verbally say red light or type it in the chat just to let me know, and we can move on from that scene. The usual rules stand by, but it's been a while since we played, and I just wanted to remind everybody, the further we get into the tomb, I'm turning the dial up past 11. And hopefully we'll have another great game. This is Curse of the Mummy Lord. Tomb of the Mummy Lord is a custom adventure that I have created for D&D 5e and converted for Call of Cthulhu. By converted, I mean I'm just stripping away all the D&D stuff and ramping up every horror movie and book I've ever read and dropping this stuff in. And these amazing players just keep encouraging me to do horrible things to their characters. So, so we're going to continue with that.
So it's our fault. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So it is the 1930s. It's 1930 something, and it is in Egypt, several miles away from where the well-known pyramids of Giza are, to a recently discovered pyramid that Merritt Jones family owns a stake in, has uncovered, and all of you have come for various reasons, have had the money or the influence to find yourself on an invitation to this archaeological exploration. Almost immediately, things have been getting bizarre, with each of you seeing very strange individual visions, up until you entered the tomb, and then you started seeing very bizarre things actually in front of you. And you have confronted all manner of horrors, not the least of which is your own pasts, as you have been solving riddles that the tomb has placed before you, until you very nearly died within the second level of the tomb, when I believe it was Theodore triggered a trap of sand from the fountain, and everybody mysteriously awoke back in their tents, though they all found that things were not right. Teddy cannot see properly. Teddy relies on his vision. Merritt actually is probably the most normal of everybody, having lost a compulsion to lie excessively about previous experiences. Though she is seeing visions of a notorious Dark Lord. Cecily, who prides herself on her strength, has found that her bones have become like glass. She already broke her hand merely having it fall off of her bed when awakening from sleep paralysis. J. Osiris Blackwood has been in fits of panic and has most recently seen a persistent vision of his father, who had previously disappeared. And Wayman C. Wanamaker the third, our resident holy man, has most recently been seen the manifestations of various aspects of himself in all of the different roles he's played throughout his life. And they're following him around. There's about 5 versions of Wayman that are pestering him as he continues on. And in our final session, the characters made their way back into the tomb, where they discovered that the path down to the lower level was opened. And when they got down there, they found the fountain intact, and the 6 doors still there. And that is where we are going to pick up. You are all back in the tomb. You have the doors and the fountain before you, and you have decisions to make. What would you like to do?
I'm not doing anything toward. I'm kind of taking. Teddy is behind me. I don't want to go too quick, so I'm just kind of staying back and kind of watching Blackwood to see what he does.
You know, he actually comes up to you and you notice he looks nervous. His hands are sweaty. Again, you don't often see him this sort of nervous. He says,
Yeah.
Hey, can you do me a favor? All right. And I know you're solid. You seem to still have your head about you. I'm not as sure about mine anymore.
That makes Cecily really nervous.
Yeah, he reaches into his back and he pulls out his 45 automatic. He checks the chamber and he hands it to you. He says,
Okay.
I don't think I should have this right now.
Okay.
I'm unsure of my own senses, and I think you can. I trust you.
I take it from him. He's never said the words that he's trusted me. I kind of have always felt it, but like that's nice to hear. Like, But I
Yeah,
just kind of
Cecily,
like I'm
you-
still like
You've never
just
seen him this
squinting at
vulnerable, to
him.
tell you the truth. He's always, even when you've known he's been vulnerable, he's always put on his costume, his armor, his persona. But
Right.
this is the first time you've seen him sort of even marginally exposed like this. He's still putting on a bit of it, but he's struggling with it.
I put my
Cecily,
hand. I put my
Cecily-
hand. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
When he hands you the 45 and says he trusts you, I need you to roll any die.
No. Nat 20.
Okay. You're fine.
Oh, good. Great. So I'm
Nat
just, like,
20
I kinda,
doesn't
like,
have the
nod.
same
I
residence in
know
this
it doesn't.
game,
I
but
know.
for
well,
you-
maybe.
You're good. Continue on.
Great. Okay. I was hoping to appeal to your 5e sensibilities. I put my hand on his shoulder and I'm just like, we're going to find what we need to find and then we're going home.
I know. And it seems to actually steady him a bit. Her certainty, and he says, well, let's get on with it then, right? And he kind of straightens up, throws his head, his chest out a little bit, and heads down the stairs the rest of the way.
As you head down the stairs, Blackwood, and as everybody's gathering down there, Blackwood, you see your father sitting on the edge of the fountain. He is wearing what? You tell me what would he look like that represents everything that your father is? What would he? How would he be dressed?
Okay, so he's dressed in this evening suit that I often saw him wear. It was sort of his finest suit that he had, European cut, and he has his pipe, and he's sort of he's sort of packing it then, and he lights it, takes a few puffs, and his hair is slicked back and neat as it always was. His bowler hat is sitting on the fountain next to him, and he has one leg sort of just casually sort of thrown over the other. That's how I remember him for most of the time that I saw him. We had people over for his talks and discussions that he would have.
Absolutely, and you can actually smell the tobacco of the pipe as he lights it. And he's just sitting there watching you as you come down, having this little bit of an attempted outward appearance of confidence. Wayman, as you come down the stairs, you find that these various iterations of yourself, from all the different lives you've lived, the gambler, the speakeasy operator, the seemingly pious preacher, the brothel owner, all of these things, every one of them is positioned at a different door. And every one of them is standing in a stance that seems to exude their fragment of your personalities. The the speakeasy operator seems to have this, sleeves rolled up, dark vest, arms just folded, hooded eyes, furrowed brow. The pimp version of you is, for some reason, I picture him, he's smoking a long, thin cigar, like a cigarillo. And as you come down, they all are just looking at you. And more than one of them, but the first one to do it is the pious preacher form, pulls out a pocket watch and just glances at it. Do you say anything to any of them?
As I get to the bottom of the steps, I reach into my jacket pocket and I pull out my flask and I take a long pull, like a good quarter of this flask, just slide it back, and I walk right up to the.
Wait a moment. You just took a pull from your flask?
I did.
You get a mouthful of sand.
Yep. So I just spit it out. I look at it and I've got this look on my face. It's just like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. And I throw it on the ground.
Par for the course.
And I walk up to the preacher me, and I just kind of glance at him as I walk. I'm like, well, you're the only one here that's full of shit, so. And I just kind of shoulder my way past him.
You all see Wayman mutter something derogatory at one of the doors.
All right,
Yeah.
so I guess we're going to that one.
Are you talking to me? I turn around.
Nah, it's just me.
I follow Wayman, and I kind of take like a slowish first step until I can like. So is Theodore like hand on shoulder, or is he trying to be a little sneakier than that?
Theodore's definitely trying to be a little sneakier, so I would imagine like his hand is like maybe on your back like a little bit, but like not like he does not want to raise attention that he can't see. So it'll be very every so often he just kind of like you feel him, he kind of like bumps you just to make sure that you're still there.
I need Theodore to make a dex roll. You can have a bonus die since you are stabilizing with Cecily. I don't know why I said Cecily. With Cecily.
I like it. Let's
Cecily.
That's a lie.
But this is as you are coming down the stairs. I want to see if you stumble at all.
All right. I got a 2.
Okay.
Which is fantastic.
I would say with that so far, unless anybody is specifically watching you or trying to figure out what you're up to, in which case they would have to roll against that. You are doing a really good job of hiding the fact that you cannot see very well at all. Everything is very blurry. You can make out vague shapes of the people enough to sort of, you've spent enough time with these folks, you can discern who's who by body shape. So you're doing okay so far.
So I kind of clear my throat before I start walking. And I take kind of a slow first step before I go up to normal Cecily speed and follow Wayman.
Merritt, as you have, since the moment you re-entered the tomb, that initial shock of horror that you received the first time you even tried to open the door and those two Egyptian individuals were devoured to the bone by scarab scorpions. You have had this this tension, this underlying stress and fear. But all of that is gone. Since you've entered this place today, and as you stride down the stairs, everything feels oddly comfortable to you.
Bit terrifying, actually. Yeah, so seeing Wayman just kind of barge in through that one door.
Did you actually push through the door, Dwight?
Yeah.
Okay. So you attempted to open the door then to find it locked.
Okay.
So that's where I thought you were shouldering past him to move further into the hallway.
Oh, I thought he was in front of the door. So.
He is. There's 6 doors in this hallway with the fountain, and they were each standing in front of different doors.
Yeah. So I shouldered past him to the door. Yeah. With the intention of going to the door.
Anyway, if I see him just going to push the door open, I Blackwood immediately just says, wait. Don't just open doors. If our last trip here taught us nothing, it teaches don't just open doors.
And Cecily is like rubbing her wrist, and it's like, or try to unlock them apparently. And like where the like clockwork worm thing went in.
I just hold up my
having that
shattered
memory.
hand, and I'm like, yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it. Tell me about it, sister.
Let me
Blackwood, you
check it
hear
first.
hear your father's voice. Well, it appears as though some of the lessons I taught you stuck. Analyze the situation before you make a foolish choice.
He pauses a moment, and the others would just kind of see him pause, kind of look down, and then kind of look back over his shoulder toward the toward the fountain, and he's trying not to let on that he's hearing anything, because he's not sure what this is, if it's some kind of spirit that's impersonating his father's spirit, or in his own mind. But he goes over to the door. It's like, you think it's this one? To Wayman.
I think it's one of these, but well,
Shrewd
I
but
don't
dull.
know. I don't. There's just something that tells me that this was the one. I don't know how to explain it. This shit's so messed up anyway.
Let's find out. And Blackwood, you guys saw him do this once before, early on in this endeavor, where he holds up his hands in a particular sign and pulls them out toward the door, and he begins making this sort of elaborate pattern over it. And you didn't see it before, but maybe now you can just make out like a little slight, a sort of after image of his hand as it moves, and maybe a little bit of light almost as he moves it around over this, and finally completes it with a circle around the entire thing. And he's casting a warding sign, which is again, it's meant to sort of to examine a magically guarded area to see if there's any sort of magical guard. It's not going to do any mundane guards like some guy with a gun, but if it's any kind of mystical, arcane kind of guardian or ward, it could potentially let that be revealed.
This is the same spell you cast on the entrance to the tomb?
Yeah, and it cost me 1 magic point.
Mm-hmm. So I'm actually going to require you to make a casting roll on this, even though you've cast this before. You are feeling something pushing against your magics.
All right.
There is some kind of magical energy in this place that seems to almost be attempting to fuse with your own magic. So I do need a casting roll.
So is this gonna be like a power check?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be a power check.
That's not good. That was 100.
Did you say you just rolled 100?
I rolled
A
100. Yeah.
crit
I love
fail.
that you like.
Oh,
That's
son
not
of a
good.
bitch.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah.
All right,
That's bad.
go. I'm gonna need you to roll me a d20.
All right.
There's no D20s in this game, Jake. No.
11, exceedingly average.
I want you to start describing how you begin losing control of the spell. And then I'm going to interrupt you as the spell fails.
All right. So you're watching him do this as he did before, and even as he finishes the circle, you see the air begin to sort of shudder in front of it, and the dust on the door begins to kind of shake and fall, and you see him kind of grab his wrist, and it's turning. It's almost like he's trying to hold his own hand from turning, and you watch as it begins to sort of that symbol begins to twist and twist, and it's shaking, and he's trying to hold it.
Your hand begins to blacken from the fingertips down through the palm and up the wrist.
Oh no.
Merid, you see as from out of the door, seeming to be made of the same substance as this door, several hands are reaching out. Some look skeletal, some have flesh hanging from them. They are grasping at Blackwood's arm and hand and attempting to twist and pull. And I would like the rest of you to make spot hidden checks. Theodore, you're going to do so with a penalty die.
Am I? I'm standing right next to him at this door, aren't I?
I'm laughing with you.
Do I
not
see
at
this
you.
coming out of the door too?
Well, let's find out. Roll.
Ooh.
I just saw your message.
I got a hard success.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a fail for me.
Okay. Wayman, you don't see anything. Theodore, you don't see anything. Merid? Did I tell you to roll with a bonus die, Merid?
You just told me I saw it. I didn't realize I.
Oh yeah, sorry, you saw it. No, sorry, Cecily, you said you got a hard success.
I got a hard success.
And Blackwood, what did you get?
Oh, okay. I didn't realize I was wrong.
Yep,
Okay.
you're gonna roll that.
I just kind of assumed I saw it, but okay. Let's see. That's a 10. That's a good roll. And this was a spot hidden.
Yep.
Yeah. Extreme success, actually.
So, Blackwood, you can completely tell what is happening. You see these hands as well. So do you, Cecily. And you watch as your hand begins to turn black, up to where. So you were specifically holding your wrist with your other hand.
Yeah.
And the blackness stops there, but that's also where some of these spectral hands are digging into your flesh, and they begin to rip and tear. And in just a moment now, though you do not see these hands, Wayman, you watch as the flesh and muscle is ripped from Wayman's hand as his hand is degloved. And
Blackwood's hand.
Or yeah, sorry, from Blackwood's hand.
That would be unfortunate.
I'm like, what did I do?
And
Screw you, Dwight.
as you are seeing that,
By the way, you notice Blackwood reaching behind him where his gun was, and he's feeling for it with his offhand now.
Oh no!
Now I haven't even gotten to the failed casting part yet.
Yeah.
As the Wayman, just as you see this, you all feel the floor begin to tremble. The walls begin to shake. This dust that was sort of lightly being disturbed, larger pieces of sandstone are crumbling away as the entire tomb appears to be caught up in this earthquake. And you actually see before you, as you're all sort of struggling, I need everybody to make a dex check to see if you can maintain your footing. As you watch all around you, these doors are actually starting to, the doorways are no longer, they're being rocked in all different ways. In some cases, the doors are falling in, doors are shattering. The door in front of you, in fact, that you were trying to get into, as your hand is degloved by this failed spell, the hands pull in and the door actually explodes in away from you. So I guess from your perspective, the door implodes. How'd everybody do on your dex checks?
Extreme success.
Regular
Extreme
success,
success. Ooh,
All right.
just regular success for me.
Teddy, you're shaking your head. Is that a fail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Cecily, you would notice that Theodore's hand leaves your arm, and
Oh no.
as he goes sprawling, and after a moment, the shaking begins to subside. I'm just going to do a roll real quick. Don't mind me. This is Cthulhu, so I need D10s. Okay, you're fine. No big chunks of debris fell on you while you were lying on the ground.
Oh. Great.
But after a moment, everything subsides. Wayman, your bones and a little bit of flesh are exposed on your hand, and you are bleeding profusely from where.
Still not me.
Blackwood, you mean?
Dang it! It doesn't matter what game I play in. I messed up my dungeon kids.
Bro, you're all right. Just
I'm
refer to
always the
D&D
dungeon
Dandy
dad.
label in the bottom of our windows.
Well, yeah,
Well,
I keep looking at the Zoom window, which has your real names for some of you.
not mine. Anyway,
Hold on.
okay, so yeah, so, is his hand still being held, or is it just it was he released?
Once they
so
ripped
that-
the flesh away, they
Okay,
imploded through the door before you.
all right. So he falls back against the far wall, and he's pulling his actually he's pulling his belt off, and he's wrapping it around his arm, and getting ready to sort of put a tourniquet on it to prevent blood loss.
Alex.
Alex, my God. Jake, you have to explain this for the
Yeah.
stream.
I forget chat can't see this. Oh, you did it.
That's
Alex is
amazing.
looking at me like, what? I didn't do anything. Dwight changed your name to not Wayman on the Zoom window.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
All right, Dwight, you son of a bitch.
Exquisite.
So go ahead and make what is it? It's a medicine check.
First aid?
First aid check.
First aid.
All right.
Cecily, would you be helping him with this?
100%.
So you can do a bonus die with that.
All right.
After I assume that I bend way, way down and help Teddy up, like try like, oh yeah, making a scene. And then I'm helping
A regular success on that.
and
Uh,
I failed.
You didn't have to make the check. You were just
Oh, great.
By
It
helping,
didn't
you were
matter.
giving him a bonus die.
Yeah.
You're taking.
Which
you're
helps.
still gonna take 5 points
All right.
of damage from that. It's a pretty significant wound.
Oh yeah.
But with your success, you are able to successfully tourniquet what remains of your hand.
Oh.
What are the rest of you doing. Teddy, what are you doing as you're being pulled up and all you can hear is the sounds of what's been happening around you, and you're not fully clear on what's going on?
Teddy's panicked because he can't see anything. He can't see what's going on, but he doesn't want to ask what's going on. So he just sees like the blur of shapes like moving around. He felt the ground shaking. And so he's just going to back up until he can find a wall.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to make a sanity check
Oh, that's rough.
as you are struggling with the fact that you cannot tell what is going on.
I rolled under
Success.
Okay.
success.
So you're on the verge of losing it, and you back up. I'm gonna have you roll me a D100. Oops.
Rolled a 2.
Oh, there we go. Opposite sides of the spectrum.
So yeah, you have nothing to worry about then. You did not accidentally back up into one of the now open doors. You do manage to find a space between two open doors. To anybody looking, it looks intentional that you just backed into this space, finding something firm, and you just stabilize yourself against this.
Yeah, I think he's doing a great job at looking terrified because he is, but not maybe for the reasons that everyone else is.
Blackwood, you are standing in front of this door. You've successfully tied this tourniquet. Your hand is messed up. And just inside the threshold of this door, you can't quite see what's on the other side. In fact, his shoulders are partially obscured by shadow. Your father is standing there. His pipe has gone out, but he's relighting it. And you see for a moment his entire face sort of light up from underneath as he strikes this match. And as he holds his hand up to light the pipe, you see a skeletal hand holding the match as he says to you, "Don't worry, son. It happens to the best of us."
Oh my God. Yes, dude.
And then he
Yes.
turns and disappears into the shadow of that room.
So yeah, Blackwood he just looks away, and he says, Cicely, do you have any rags, cloth, something?
Yeah, I'm sure I do. Yeah, well, Cecily has a lower part of her shirt and just goes and like that takes like a strip and like ties it off. Ugh.
Yeah, we'll just wrap it around. Just basically cover the gore, basically.
Everything. Yeah.
This seems like a great place to have everybody roll on the roll a Mythos die.
Oh God, I forgot what we roll for Mythos die. What is it?
So
It's
I'm
a
having
D100
everybody
still.
roll a D100.
Okay.
Are you spending Mythos die in that case?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Thank God.
Yep.
We
Spending.
have so many, we don't know what to do with
So
them.
here's what I want you to do:
Mhm.
is you're going to tell me the number. I'm going to use the tens or the tens digit. Basic math, Jake. The tens digit to determine what kind of effect you are affected by. The percentile you roll determines how severe it is.
Ah.
I
Okay.
rolled a
So
s-
yeah, let's
okay.
start with Blackwood.
yeah, I rolled a 17, so be 1 and 17.
Okay, so it's very low, but Blackwood, you find yourself, maybe it's the trauma of what has just happened in the last few moments, let alone the last couple days. You're struggling to remember little bits and pieces of detail. As somebody who pays attention to detail, you're finding that you're having, even now, you're struggling to remember what it was that caused your hand. You know it was the magic, but you the memory of how it got ruined is fading
Gone.
like a dream, as you are being affected by a mild form of amnesia. Wayman.
Yep, it's an 11.
Same thing, except for you, this is manifesting itself as you are struggling to recall who these different versions of yourself represent. You're starting to actually see them. You still see them, but every once in a while you look at one and you kind of have to do a double take to recognize yourself in them. They are starting to look like strangers.
Yeah, I kind of think that like maybe they're all like super caricaturized versions of me. So as I kind of slip away, it's less and less recognizable. Like maybe that gets more pronounced.
Theodore, what would you say is Theodore's defining personality trait?
His intellect, 100%. Just he prides himself on just being smart, a bit of a know-it-all. Yeah.
He's a nerd and proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you rolled an 88, which is
Yes.
quite high.
Oh my god. Oh no.
Theodore,
Jake,
so
don't.
two things
He
happen.
can't see already.
Two things happen, Theodore. One, something shifts in your vision. And you notice, in fact, make me a spot hidden. I want to see if you actually pick up on this.
Just regular roll.
Yeah, just a regular spot hidden roll.
Oh, that's a pass.
Okay. You notice what has shifted is that in your peripheral, where your glasses lenses aren't specifically over your eyes, you can actually see clearly.
What? This is like the
And
glow
you
up scene in an
realize
80s movie.
you realize
Take
that
glasses
if you
off.
remove your glasses, you can see perfectly fine. Your vision is no longer obscured unless you put your glasses on, as if you don't need that prescription anymore. But you also realize that the fear that was propelling you against this wall is gone. You don't even care that much about the pursuit of the history or the study of anything. For you, this
Oh my
entire thing has
God.
shifted into, you see yourself as some kind of a somebody from the pulp novels that you've heard about, maybe even glanced at. Basically, you have undergone a complete personality change, that you are the complete opposite of everything Teddy has been to date. You can interpret that how you want and retain some aspects of that. You're not a completely different person, but you're basically you're the 80s movies where you have the makeover and you become popular suddenly. Except you're the physical manifestation of that.
Okay. Just like he hasn't, so a quick question though, he hasn't lost like his ability to speak like the other languages?
No,
He
you just don't care about it
doesn't
as
care.
much.
Okay.
It's there and you can use it if you want. None of your abilities are there. It's just your personality. So whatever you think Teddy would normally do, you would do the opposite in terms of personality wise. And this will last for a little while because you got an 88. And
Do me next. Wait, no. You're right.
hold on. You guys are going nuts in the side chat. I gotta scroll back
I'm
up and see
sorry.
what you got a 34.
Yes.
It's not as severe as you've seen Wayman go into these fits of rage, but that variable you have that determines whether or not you go into these manic fits of rage. You're pissed that you're back in this hallway. The last time you were down here, all hell broke loose and reality turned on its head, and all of a sudden Wayman's trying to do some magical shit and it's falling apart and hands are getting ripped apart. You've
Still
got
not
glass bones.
Blackwood's trying
Still
to do
not
some
me.
magic.
That's 3.
Did I say you
You
again?
did. That's 3 times. Yep.
What is it? Why am I trying to put everything on you, Dwight?
Everyone, you have
Yeah.
to donate 1 domain die for every time Jake says Wayman incorrectly.
I honestly
the
don't
rules.
know why I keep putting everything on Wayman. No,
Screw you, Dwight.
I said because I mentioned you.
I'm
This
always on your
particular
mind, Jake.
Anyway, I'm
Oh my
pissed.
gosh. I was gonna say don't tell the Dawnbringers crew, but ends here.
They know.
It's all the Wayman clones around. Not
Yeah,
only
there's
That's
like
Wayman
yeah.
seeing
6
them,
Wayman.
you
that in here.
are. You're seeing them all over.
Like, hold on, let me in my my theater of the mind vision just move some of these Waymans out of the way. As Cecily, you are pissed. You are very angry at the situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to do violence against someone or something.
Okay. Well, I turn over my shoulder and I see Merid, who has been pissing me off since day one, and she's the reason we're down here. And I go over to Merid and I'm like, well, another day starting off real strong. I think maybe we should go back and regroup and just make sure we're ready for, like, you know, all the shit in this place before we just dive in headlong again. What do you think, boss?
So before you speak, Merid, so you rolled a 40. You, especially with Cecily, I'm now very closely looking at all your names, especially with Cecily
With
getting in your
Cecily
face,
Stanford.
you feel the need. You have this confidence is getting so instilled in you that you're sure that whatever you're saying is right, that you feel the need to boast about your plans. So you're basically, imagine if Leroy Jenkins explained that he was going to Leroy Jenkins before he ran into the room. That's how you are. You're super confident in what you're going to do, and you're just going to say, look, this is how it's going to be, and this is the plan, and it's right.
What you're saying is a bunch of bollocks. This is going exactly according to plan. We are going to get into one of these doors now. Look, they're open. They're just right for the taking. We're doing exactly what we need to do, and we
I
should
want to
get
slap
going.
Merid in the face.
Oh, you
I'm just gonna
shouldn't
slap
do
her in
that.
the face. Well, I'm gonna slap her in the face. I'm gonna slap her in the face hard.
You got glass bones, my dear.
Oh shit! I forgot about my glass
I didn't.
bones. Shut up, you! This was a clever ruse. I knew. I don't trust you. Okay. Well, so is it? A brawl. I assume.
That's what I
One more
like to
hand.
do.
One more hand bites the dust.
Yeah. I seriously, I don't have a hand fetish. Just everybody keeps putting their hands on everything.
Well, that's an extreme success.
Do I get to roll to dodge or like stop it somehow?
Yeah, I'll say with it being an extreme success, you're going to also need an extreme success. And we'll see how that plays out.
So do I roll brawl as well?
What are you going to try to do exactly?
You have to roll dodge. You can either dodge or fight back. Yeah.
Well, no, I feel
Alex is our resident Call of Cthulhu expert.
I swear to God, I was just about to say that sentence. Wavelength. Here we are, both on the same one.
Yeah, we'll do the dodge because I saw it coming. So we're gonna get out of the way and maybe she'll smack against the wall.
Thanks, Karen. No, maybe I'll just miss and save my glass bones.
Well, I could blow luck to make it a success, but I don't think so because I can't get it all the way down to extreme. So I'm going to let your punch land.
Sorry.
It's not my face that's going to break.
I know.
I'm going to say I'm going to say because it was an extreme success, somehow while it hurts you a little more than you would have expected, you don't break any bones slapping her.
Yay. I do 2 points of damage.
This is a classic 1930s slap across the face.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Everybody hears it. Everybody looks.
Crack.
You bitch. Now get yourself together. We're going in this door and we're going to continue on. Now get a grip on yourself.
I think Wayman's over in the corner just
Oh my God. You're cruising for a bruising too, Wayman. I got slappers only today. One for her, one for you. Okay.
That anyway. Got me. I've got slappers only today.
On sale.
And I at this Cecily has taken a very aggressive posture and kind of I've already done my violence, so I just kind of I'm enraged still, but I just kind of try to shake it off, and because that did really hurt my hand more than it should have. It didn't break anything, but I was like, oh yeah, shit, my glass bones. And then I actually go over to Teddy, only now realizing that I left him and he's alone, and to my knowledge, he still can't see.
Oh boy, you turn to Teddy, and
and I am taken aback.
His shirt, he's unbuttoned it a little bit. He's just putting back, just slick backing his hair. And you see him just kind of looking at himself in a compass, the reflective end of a compass.
Oh my God. I imagine Cecily turns around and she's after she's slapped Merritt, she turns around, Teddy, are you all right? And notices him and is just and then it's something about him. And I just go over to him. And then I'm like, so you missed a lot. And then I start describing everything that happened from the degloving on. And I'm like, why aren't you wearing your glasses?
Sounds like you've been through it, doll. And he puts his hand on your shoulder. And he grins at you.
Oh God.
You just tell me which one of these doors I need to go through to and he flexes. Also, Theodore's lanky as hell, so this looks very odd. Trying to
but he's just strutting.
Yeah.
So this is not Brendan Fraser. This is Milo from Atlantis or whatever that movie was. Are you
kidding me, Carrie? I was just gonna say the same thing,
bro. Here's the wavelength. We're both on it
tonight. I couldn't remember his name, but I was gonna say that Dwight called
Michael J. Fox.
Theodore Brendan Fraser earlier, but he's with the lankiness. He's 100% Milo.
Amazing. It's the confidence that gets Cecily, and it's just I think we picked that one to go through, and I just kind of am pointing over at where Wayman is still standing, chuckling like a dick.
And yeah, he like looks at you, smiles and winks, and he's just yeah, it's just gonna continue on headfirst into the room.
Amazing.
Wayman,
Oh my god.
you're standing off in this corner, and with everything that's happening, your other versions of yourself are all sort of gathering around you. It's a very Stardust moment where all of the brothers are together, and they all just kind of lean in or kind of look over at you while watching this new version of Teddy walk through, and the speakeasy version of your past just standing just over your left shoulder, just leans in and says, I guess I don't need to tell you, things are gonna get fucked from here on out. Not gonna be able to go with you. You're on your own, buddy. And as if to add insult to injury, he reaches into his breast pocket, pulls out his flask, and takes a deep pull.
Ooh.
That time I did actually say Wayman, right?
Right.
Yes. We'll let you know every time you screw up.
I was listening carefully for that. Like, okay, I gotta make sure he's not talking about me. Okay, good.
I think
All right.
I just kind of
I do not have multiple personalities.
That's the real psychological terror going on tonight. Who am I talking to? Sorry, Wayman.
I think I kind of like shrug my shoulder a little bit and just spit right in his face, and then turn and walk into the room.
If anybody could see this, you would see as Wayman turns to walk through this door, there's this moment where he sort of takes a step forward, shrugs his shoulders, gets prepared. And you watch as each version of himself steps in behind him and then steps into him. One by one, as they sort of reintegrate into him.
They are him.
And so at this point, Teddy and Wayman have walked through the door.
Merritt would have followed right after Teddy.
Yeah, Blackwood will get to his feet, and he's removed at this point. He's removed the tourniquet to make sure he's not bleeding out, and he sort of just kind of pulls the shirt down and make sure the cuff is sort of snug around the bandage, and he'll just kind of roll the belt up and put it in his pocket for now, and
I almost did it. Blackwood, you notice that
Progress.
you notice that as you remove this belt,
Mhm.
there's pain in what remains of your hand. And despite the fact that tendon and muscle and flesh has been ripped from the bone, you can still move your fingers.
Oh my god.
okay. So
Any action you do,
Okay.
any action you do with this hand will be with
Mhm.
a penalty die going forward. But strangely, you notice as it's almost an instinctive move, as you've hurt your hand, you
Yeah.
sort of flex your fingers,
yeah,
and you hear this sort of crackly, almost like knuckles popping sound as you flex your hand, and your hand actually responds.
he stops. He suddenly stops with that, and he undoes the thing and pulls it back, and he unwraps the bandages. And then he does he sort of holds it up, sort of Terminator style, with the and kind of looks at the move, and he's just sort of staring at it.
Give me a spot hidden.
All right. Oh, that's really good. 08. I think that's an extreme.
You can,
Yeah.
yes, you can clearly see that as you're doing this, the
Mhm.
bones of your hand and the radial and ulna bones, all
Mhm.
of the wrist bones, everything has been blackened by the effect of the spell. And you can see that this ancient hieroglyphic writing that was on the pedestal of the statue upstairs
Uh-huh.
is etched into your bones. And there's a very, very thin gold inlay to it.
Okay. He sort of thinks about it for a moment, and then he reaches into his bag and he pulls out a pair of leather gloves. And he's gonna take the right one, and he's gonna sort of gently sort of kind of slide it over his hand, and then again sort of tentatively try to move it to make sure that he wasn't just imagining it.
That's moving.
And then he's gonna pull the shirt down again and do the cuff up around it, and he'll just kind of absentmindedly put the other glove on just for symmetry. He says, and then he notices that that Celia is still here, and he sort of turns to her and says, "Look, I have to go down here. You know that, right?"
I just sort of look at him and I kind of like, there's almost like a look of tiredness in Cecily's eyes, and she just kind of like nods.
Yeah. But you don't. You don't have to go down here if you don't want to. You know, the gods know you've done more than your share for me than maybe even I deserve. And he realizes he's saying this because there's no one else around at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Yeah, you no one would think less of you if you turned and walked up those stairs and got out of here. This is a place that we'll be lucky to get out sane, if alive at all. We'll be missing pieces. We won't be the same. We're not going to be the same if we left right now. But my father is somewhere in here. And I need to know. Even if I don't find him alive, I need to know what happened."
Seeing the intensity that Blackwood is going at with this, and just, this is sort of like, obviously the circumstances that brought them together were not voluntary, but she has kind of grown to respect him and like admires the passion with which he goes after these different goals of his. And Cecily kind of just like looks down and is sort of thinking for a second, and then she kind of like looks back up at him and smiles and just kind of shakes her head and says, "Well, I'm not doing anything else today." And then she's like, "Plus somebody's got to carry your gun." And she pulls it out and then like does like cool twirly stuff and then back in the back of her pants, and then kind of puts her hand on his shoulder and just kind of gives him a nod, and then goes and walks through the door.
Then let's do it. And he follows her in.
So at this point, I believe the order so far has been Teddy, Blackwood and Wayman, Blackwood and Cecily. And then Merritt, you're going in last.
I would have followed right
Merritt.
after Teddy.
Okay.
Merritt already went, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Merritt
yeah.
went in after Teddy. So Teddy was the first one in.
Yeah, it was Teddy, Wayman, Married, Cicely, Blackwood.
So you all walk in, and what you see as I guess it was Blackwood and Cecily walking in last. Everybody is standing in a very large chamber that has tattered tapestries hanging from golden rods on the walls that have this sigil of Hyceneroth emblazoned on them. They are partially disintegrated from time, but each one of these is against the wall above a sarcophagus. There's a total of 6 sarcophagi in this room. Very large, ornate sarcophagi carved in these ancient hieroglyphs. You can see, though you'll have to get closer to see the detail, you can see raised up on the surfaces of them are what appear to be representations of who may have been buried there. On the far side of the room is a door leading who knows where. This door is reminiscent of the doors that were led into the frozen room and the lava room and the puzzles upstairs. As you come in, Teddy, you were the first one into the room, and so we see you sort of standing in the middle of this room looking around at these, and everything is brighter in here. Though you can't quite discern the light source, everything has this sort of unearthly yellowish orangish glow about it. The floor is immaculate, multicolored tiled stones. There's where each of the sarcophagi is against 3 on one wall, 3 on the other wall, to your right and left. There's these these arched alcoves with finer brick detailing in them, where these flags of Hyceneroth, banners of Hyceneroth hang. The 2 things that stand out beyond all of this is that on the far side of the room there appears to be a slumped figure against the wall. And secondly, Teddy, as you walk into this room and you're taking this out in this sort of bravado personality, do you say anything?
Oh yeah. Tommy or Tommy, Theodore.
He's going by Tommy now.
Just say, wasn't Tommy in the Highway of Blood?
No. Timmy.
Okay.
Teddy is like, he whistles like with his hands outstretched, just like he does like a spin, a slow spin around, just like taking it all in. Ain't she a beauty? He's like looking around. And
as Teddy says, "Ain't she a beauty?" we hear shkum, shing, and there's a quick flash, and across the front of Teddy's white shirt, we see the part of his shirt fall away, a red slash appear, and blood begins to spill out of Teddy's chest. And that's where we're going to take a break.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I was like, I heard his shirt falls away. I'm like, hot, and then blood.
I never would have thought in the midst of all of this going on that I would ship Cecily and Teddy.
it's like, hey, oh.
And that's why I threw it to you, Em. I knew you were going to deliver. We needed one of those "let's go to break" catchphrases so I can fire off this trap. So, yeah, that's where we're going to go ahead. And it's a little bit early, but we're going to take a break. And we'll be back in just a few minutes, 10 to 15 minutes-ish, and we'll finish up this session of Curse of the Mummy Lord, Doors to the Past. I am going to give you a dodge check with a penalty die, and all this is going to do is determine what size damage die I use. I have no. I have no idea how many hit points Teddy has remaining, but
Not that many. After Wayman beat him into a pulp.
He would have healed some of that, wouldn't he have, Jake?
Well, just a
Nailed
reminder that
one, right?
Oh,
did we do? We did
Yeah.
natural healing,
did.
didn't we?
Checking.
yeah, I think we did.
Isn't it only by 1 point?
It's
Overnight,
different.
I think.
It's different in pulp.
Oh,
I think
I think
pulp
it's
has
two.
a
It's
different
two
take
every
on
day
the.
unless you have. It's 2 every day unless you have fast healing, which is then 3.
Right.
So I think you should be up 1 more.
okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
And don't forget the luck, because you can spend luck to reduce damage, things like that. There's a whole set of things you can use luck
Yeah,
on
and there's
besides
also
just-
there's also in this particular game, there's the avoid certain death that lets you dump
for the right.
lets you dump.
Just in case there's a scything blade.
Was it five Mythos dice?
Well, no, the 5 Mythos dice is you can do something absolutely heroic.
Like dodge a
awesome.
scything blade.
No, the where did it go?
Spend all your luck points as long as you have 30 plus.
Yes, that's what it. Thank
Huh.
you. Thank you. That's what it is. You can avoid certain death, but you can only do that once, basically.
Right.
Well, he failed quite spectacularly.
Okay. So, on a so with a spectacular fail, that's going to be the D12 that I'm going to roll on. It could have been a D10 or a D6, or even a D4, but it's going to be a D12.
No.
I rolled a 1.
You're
On a
kidding
D12.
me.
I picked it up and double checked that it wasn't a 7. I rolled.
I thought
a
you
1.
were about to pull the Mercer, like take a picture of it and tweet it out.
Yeah.
I thought you had that look on your face.
No,
Oh my God.
I from this angle, I wasn't sure if it was a 1 or a 7, which I feel like is a life or death distinction
yeah.
here.
Oh my God.
So I do have to ask, with 1 hit point, is Teddy still standing?
Oh yeah.
So you all see as this scything blade just sort of pops up, whips across, and you catch the tail end of it as the blade retreats, and this whole mechanism sort of flips down, and you see the floor tiles sort of cover back up directly in front of where Theodore is looking back at all of you. You tell me, Teddy, how do you react to this particular wound and attack?
He like kind of jumps back a little bit. Like I would think that's how he avoided so much of the injuries. Like but it still slices and it begins bleeding, and he just, oh, and she's saucy too, and he's gonna take off his shirt and he's gonna like start to tend to his bleeding wound.
It's a good gash, but it surprisingly, your shirt seemed to stop most of it, and it didn't quite get into where it would have really opened you up. You're able to address this pretty easily using your shirt and standing there shirtless, dabbing at your wound. I'm immediately looking over at Cecily. Blackwood, give me a spot hidden.
It's 23, which is a hard success.
Describe to me, to all of us, how your father dressed when he went on expeditions.
All right. So um, on expeditions, he tended to wear sort of like the standard sort of khaki sort of outfit. He wore like a close fitting shirt, a scarf or tied around his neck. He wore high boots because snakes, scorpions, that sort of thing. So he had the boots that went almost up to the knee, and the pants that were sort of tucked into them, and he always, in fact, he always carried an almost nearly identical bag to the one I'm carrying. That I sort of have constantly like slung around my shoulder with my with my various important items in it. And he also wore this this sort of wide brimmed this sort of wide brim, sort of almost like a Western hat, but sort of the flat top one, but wider. And he would to keep the sun out of his eyes. He's probably wearing his he is wearing sunglasses. He's wearing the sort of the round ones with the little extra bit on the side. And although he may have it like up on his hat at this time if he's indoors. And yeah, that's the basic idea.
Blackwood, you hear a crunch underfoot as you sort of take your last step into this room as Teddy gets hit by this scything blade and then sort of seems to be brushing it off.
I stop moving immediately, and I'm looking for, clearly Teddy triggered something, and so I'm looking down to see if there's any kind of plate, tripwire, smooth stone, anything like that.
What you see is a pair of round, dark lensed glasses. Your father's glasses. You've just stepped on them.
Right.
Oh.
I step back gently, and I kind of carefully get down, and I go to reach with my right hand, and I stop, and then I reach out with my left hand, and I pick them up and try to brush them off. And
as you do that, we see, as you're sort of holding them up and looking at them, we see, imagine cinematically, the camera rack focuses. And we see the focus shift from the glasses to the slumped figure across the room, wearing exactly the outfit that you just described your father wearing. You see the figure slumped, its head low, the flat-brimmed hat covering the face. You see the boots sort of splayed, the feet splayed, laying flat out. This figure is slumped unnaturally low against the wall on the far side of the room.
Without getting up, I sort of like lean back a bit, and I or actually forward, since you went in first. I say, Celia, look across the room. Do you see someone sitting there? And he tries to say it low enough so no one else hears.
I look across, and Celia would think this figure is. Does it look good? It looks dead, right? Like he dead.
Very, very dead.
Yeah. I turn over to Blackwood and I'm like, I don't think sitting's the right word, John.
I know. And you see him holding the glass, and he just sort of, holds him like this, and he then sort of just tucks it into his pocket and lifts himself up. You can see that he wants to run. You can sort of tell he wants to just run across this room to get over there. But after seeing what happened to Teddy, he's sort of restraining himself. It's like, all right. Everyone, be careful where you step. Clearly, this place has some surprises.
Teddy, did you step on something? Suddenly yells out.
Wince.
You dumbass.
Teddy's like dabbing like at his wound. He looks up.
That's Cicely's way of showing affection.
Yeah, you suck. You suck, Teddy.
I mean, she likes you. Yeah.
Merritt would step up to Teddy and you like slap him across the shoulder, like that. Great job, Teddy. You found it, so now we don't have to step on it again. Well done.
He smiles and like nods. He's like, gotta protect you broads out here. He like,
oh wow, okay, never mind. I'm out.
Up goes the bubble.
Merritt, unfazed, is like, perfect. Then you can light the way.
Oh God, Teddy's still in there somewhere.
he like, yeah. He's gonna turn confidently and start walking towards. You said there was a bunch of sarcophagus in here.
There's 3 sarcophagi on the other side of the room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful.
He's gonna start walking, and looks like we're gonna get payday soon. And he's gonna go towards the sarcophagus.
Left or right?
Left.
Okay.
By the way, when Teddy said broad in that way, Blackwood just kind of froze and his eyes like flicked to Cicely like, uh-oh.
Cicely just like, she stands up a little straighter and it's just kind of like blank, blank, blank.
Hey,
and he began to
Cicely.
question that he began to question that wisdom of giving her the gun at that point.
Hey, Cicely.
Right?
Cicely, roll me any die.
He's seen this before.
No.
He has seen this before.
2. I am impossibly lucky. I got a 2.
All right. Wayman. Make me a spot hidden check.
That's a 9, so that's an extreme success.
This is actual Wayman, by the way.
Right.
Not faux Wayman.
Actual. This is
Right.
real Wayman.
Wayman, as this is all sort of happening and you've walked into the room, first, how are you? Just describe to us your actions as all of this is happening around you. What are you doing?
I am incredibly indifferent to what's happening. I am just resigned to whatever the hell happens next, and we're just going to keep doing this shit. So that's kind of the attitude that Wayman has right now. He's like, my whiskey's gone, and I don't know what's happening. My hand is wrecked. So whatever.
It's the worst thing that's happened today, though, is the whiskey.
Right.
So
by a mile.
So as this is all taking place, you're barely paying attention to it. You're just like, okay, well, this is happening.
Oh, a dead body. Okay.
Yeah, dead body, scything trap, Theodore's being an ass. Yeah, it's all good. You're kind of scanning the sarcophagi. And remind me, Teddy, did you say left that you were heading toward?
Left.
So right around the same time that Teddy's heading off confidently towards the left side, Wayman, your eyes are sort of just from where you stand when you first walk in, you're taking in these 6 sarcophagi. And at first glance, they all look identical. They're carved of a light colored stone. They have some of that ancient hieroglyphic writing carved into them. You can see the reliefs on top of them. And you can see enough so to tell that the reliefs are each different. That different figures are represented here. And as you're scanning across these sarcophagi, the farthest one on the left, something about it catches your eye. Every one of these sarcophagi at the foot, the side that's facing inward towards the room, that face of the sarcophagi sarcophagus has carved into it various symbols. All of them have variations of Hycinoroth's symbol, this sort of stylized V shape. But it's this one in particular that catches your eye because there is a very intricately carved cross, surprisingly representative of a Judeo-Christian cross, and almost, if not exactly identical to that gold cross with the ruby inset into it that you have in your possession. A little something like this.
So it's a carving, or there's another one of those?
It's a carved and it's an engraving representing that symbol.
Like, okay.
Inlaid.
Yeah, it's inlaid. Basically as if to say this is the sigil of whoever is interred here. A memory comes forth to your mind, Wayman. How did you come to be in possession of this gold cross?
This cross has my daddy had this cross, and his daddy had it before him, and it's been in the family as long as we've known. I mean, I don't know how many generations of preacher I am, but it's kind of the family. This is the family business, and my daddy kept it on his person until he died and left it to me in his will, and I've had it ever since. And as I think as the group is kind of going on ahead, I'm kind of just cautiously walking over to this sarcophagus. I don't really say anything to anybody quite yet, but just want to kind of get a little bit closer, take a closer look. It's almost kind of almost in a trance, kind of like I'm just like pulled to this. I'm not really realizing that they're walking away from me, but I almost feel like I have to go check this out a little bit closer.
All right, you begin heading over towards that one. Teddy, you were heading to the left, just sort of generally. Were you heading to one in particular of these three that are on the left? First, second, or third? First one would be the closest to you.
Yep.
You begin heading over to that one. Blackwood and Cecily, are you making any moves?
Did Wayman go? Wayman went to the right, or he also
Left.
went to the left?
Wayman's going to the far left sarcophagus. He's just
Teddy's
sort of
going left to the nearest one. I guess I want to go to the right.
okay.
And I just want to look. I just kind of want to go to the right and just sort of look across all three of them. I'm not investigating anything terribly closely.
Merritt, what are you doing?
I'm following with Teddy. I'm looking at the ones on the left, starting with the first one, just like. I think Teddy and I are going to make a great team now.
To the left first one.
You guys were a team before. The roles have shifted slightly.
Now we're a better team.
We're both extremely delusional.
Very confident.
I'm great. No, you're great. No, I'm great. I know.
Make me married. Make me a. I'm not sure what check this would be. You know what? I'm going to have you make me a. Are you skilled in occult?
No, but I do have Cthulhu Mythos, if that matters.
Perfect. You make that check. Osiris. I know. I'm just randomly picking three, each part of your name. I call you Blackwood, Osiris, John.
It's fine.
I'll do that.
You make an occult check for me. I know you're trained in
Okay.
that.
Oh yeah.
I am going to
Alright.
use 6 luck to make that a success.
Okay.
That is a hard success.
Okay. Cecily, Teddy, and Wayman, I want all of you to make me dexterity checks.
Oh no. Got a hard success.
Had 22, which is a hard success.
Got a 100.
Oh my god!
Okay.
Twice in one night. Do you know the odds of that, everyone? It's 1 in 10,000. I'm a math teacher. I know.
Okay. So
Kids.
this is the order we're going to resolve this in.
Oh,
As Merid, you're sensing this confidence that you felt from entering this day into this tomb. As you've entered this room, you can feel that there's an energy in the air. Moreover, you can feel that there's and this is interesting, and you will have to make this determination. This is a character agency moment. Whether or not Merid believes in things like personal energy, chakra, whatever it may be, you feel your own energies are harmonizing with the energy that is in this place. So you'll need to determine how Merid feels about that as you're starting to feel this energy. Blackwood,
Mhm.
you also feel an energy in this place. It is an ancient energy, an ancient power that resides here. This is probably what drove your father here. This energy that you feel here is both the tied into the same energies that you draw your magical powers from, but the energy that you are sensing, you get the sense that it is, you know, that when you tap in, you're tapping into a reservoir that you have, obviously from recent experience, you have to be very careful when tapping into, lest you turn that tap too wide open. The energy that you are sensing in this place has no filter to it. It's raw, just that raw, pure form of that power, deep and ancient. Cecily and Wayman, you both walk purposefully toward the sarcophagi that you were walking towards. You avoid any pitfalls or traps. Nothing goes off. Before we resolve Theodore's 100, I want to first go to Merid and then go to Blackwood. And I want to see, as these are sort of happening simultaneously, I want to see, Merid, how are you reacting to the sensation of this power that you sense?
So Barrett doesn't really and never has really believed in all that mumbo jumbo about like any of the occult. She just never had any believings in it whatsoever. When people talk about it, always wrote it off as rubbish. But from the experiences of what we've seen so far and what has happened with her sanity level and this feeling she's now feeling, and with the knowledge she knows, this realization is actually bolstering her confidence and her her resolve that this is exactly what we're supposed to be doing, where we're supposed to be, and that the answers are right around the corner. So she's extremely excited.
How are you reacting, Blackwood?
Blackwood is scared. This, because like you said, he's felt sort of uncontrolled power, and when it's just raw and uncontrolled like this, he feels almost like it feels like a minefield, like there's a this is a bomb that could go off if they're not careful, and so he's sort of looking around. He was kind of looking down to where Teddy had stepped, before the blade almost bisected him, and he's sort of says, everyone, don't touch anything yet. There's something strong in here. We have to exercise extreme caution.
As you say, extreme caution. This is about the time, Teddy, that you sort of step up to the foot of that first sarcophagus. As he says extreme caution, you feel the floor tile give by about a quarter of an inch as you step on it.
Oh no.
Everybody in the room, you hear a from left to right, dropping from the ceiling. A scything blade drops down, impales Teddy in the side, lifting him up to the other side to the ceiling and smashing him against the ceiling. As it withdraws, Teddy's body falls to the ground. Because that was a 100, I'm not even going to have you roll. I'm rolling a D12, and I'm rolling a D12 I'm basically doing this at advantage. Teddy, you take 7 points of damage from the blade.
Okay, so how can I mitigate that? Is that a thing?
So,
Teddy says out loud, excuse me.
1 second.
Point of order.
Hold on. Time out.
So you can do the avoid certain death, which is
you literally have to spend all your luck points, I
All
believe.
your luck.
yeah, you
You have to have
basically
at least 30.
Or
Yeah, if you-
we have 42 domain dice. Hey, keeper, let's cut a deal. Can we as a team decide that maybe half of that is worth Teddy's life and then he doesn't have to touch his luck? Team.
Where was this scything blade? And
you're at the
I'm at
Raymond,
the-
you're in front of the third sarcophagus.
Okay.
Teddy's in front of the first one on the
Okay.
left. So quite a ways away from you.
Okay.
And it dropped out from the ceiling.
I
So
blew my hair back.
within the rules of Pulp Cthulhu, you can avoid certain death by spending all of your luck points.
Mhm.
Alternatively, Carrie has proposed spending half of all of your domain dice, so 21 Mythos dice, to basically accomplish the same thing. That is up to you as players to decide.
Do not feel bad if you guys want to shoot this down. It was literally just a proposal.
I will allow it if you have a unanimous decision.
I just have a question. With the avoid certain death, does that mean I take no damage? What do I say?
I'm trying to find the...
Actually, yeah. Okay, so here's how it works. You spend all these luck points must be spent to bring the hero back from the brink of death. the hero has avoided certain death and immediately regains 1d6 plus 1 hit points.
Yeah, I knew there was something about healing in
Yeah.
there. This is
There's also one right above that. It's called "It's Only a Scratch" for 20 luck, and I don't know if this will work in this case. It says wounds can sometimes look worse than they are. Pulp heroes can call their inner reserves and gain an instant health boost to reduce damage. So when damage has been taken, a hero can spend 20 luck points to gain an immediate 1d6 hit points of recovery.
Right. So that would you could potentially get a lot of that back immediately. So either one of those would work.
I'm assuming the 7 drops you to 0.
Oh yeah, I have 3 hit points.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, you're basically in the it's only a scratch or avoid certain death. I mean,
although
if you don't,
I would think with it's only a scratch, you'd actually have to roll more than the negative number you would have lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that would put you at
There's
-4. So you would have to.
That's
roll.
risky. If you roll too low, then it wouldn't.
Yeah, if
it
you
wouldn't
rolled a
help
4
you.
or less, you would still be dead.
Yeah, you'd have to roll really well.
Yeah, I think
With avoid certain death, you use all your luck. You gain 1d6 plus 1 hit points.
Yeah.
Or use half the Mythos
Or use
dice
21 Mythos
The
dice.
carry compromise.
for a avoid certain death, right?
Yeah, it's basically using the domain dice, the Mythos dice
Instead of
to.
the luck.
Here's my proposal, team. We don't want Teddy to be running around here without luck. He's the only way we can read anything in here.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Or without a head. Though I might suggest. I might suggest though if you use the Mythos dice, that there should be a cost. You know,
I've already thought of a cost.
Yeah, that should come at a cost because that's easy.
if Teddy has to stay this way permanently, I'd probably prefer him dead.
Nope, you're not gonna stay this way permanently. But
You don't know that.
I do have I have a cost already.
Okay. I was just kidding.
I've heard at least 2 votes for 21 Mythos dice, 3 votes for 21
my votes for that, or leave it up to Teddy. So, yeah.
Kieran, what do you say about 21 Mythos to mitigate?
I am okay with either. Again, leave it up to Teddy if she.
Okay, Teddy, you're the final deciding factor on this. You're either going to spend all your luck to avoid certain death, or you're going to spend 21 Mythos dice
with some unknown costs.
I don't know. I feel like I need to roll it because I don't know.
Make a decision.
If it helps though, I think is it each session we get to potentially some
you do
luck
get to
points back?
roll. You do get to roll at the end of each session because you do mechanically you do recover luck points.
Yeah.
So you roll versus your luck.
So you won't be at 0, but you won't have nearly as many.
Yeah.
And usually we
just
don't get to
another
use
thought.
Mythos dice for good things.
That's
So-
true.
Your friends are willing to help you.
Okay. Yeah. I'll use those dice. If that's
21
okay.
Mythos dice, the largest domain die burn I have ever seen in one shot.
This will henceforth go down in history as the carry compromise, and I want that to be on the record, please.
So, this is how this is going to play out. Not only does it have a cost for Theodore, it has a cost for everybody, potentially.
Yes.
The scything blade still rips down out of the ceiling. It cuts into Teddy. You all see this. You see it rip into Teddy, slam him up against the ceiling. And as it retreats, you see the spray of blood arc across the floor as Teddy's body drops to the ground. But the odd thing you see is as the scythe strikes Teddy, the machismo form of Teddy is ripped away. And Teddy, as you know him, is still standing mere centimeters away from where the scything blade would have been. You watch as this dual personality is before your eyes, literally ripped from Teddy's essence, slammed into the ceiling, drops to the ground. Teddy, I'm still going to give you, because it's a variation of this, I'm still going to give you the 1d6 plus 1 hit point recovery. However, first roll that number and let's see where you're at.
Got to 5.
Okay, so that's on top of what you had to begin with, the 3. However, standing next to you, this sort of machismo version of you suddenly jumps up and looks at himself like, I have no idea how that happened, and then looks up and sees you and sees everybody standing around. And I need everybody to make a sanity roll, as there are now 2 versions of Teddy standing in this room.
Oh my god.
Now, the however, Teddy, is you and Alt Teddy share the same hit point pool.
Nice.
Ooh.
Oh,
Bizarro,
nice.
Bizarro Teddy.
I rolled a 98.
I failed.
Oh my gosh.
Successful Blackwood.
I
Okay.
really have no chance in success, so yeah,
Blackwood
that's a
seen
failure.
Blackwood's seen some real shit. This QT
Yeah.
Saturday
Well, he
morning
also just had that
BS.
realization of the magic that's in here, and he was ready for anything. I mean, so it was like, oh yeah, of course this was going to happen. You know, it's like, yeah, okay, so this is
Obviously.
what it was. Yeah, okay, I don't know. he was braced for something bad,
If I had a nickel, am I right?
right?
So, Merid, Wayman, and Cecily all failed. Teddy, how did you do?
Eddie actually passed. He's like, he's fine.
And I think,
Wait,
I
what?
think in a
Both
weird,
Teddys are individually fine.
in a weird way, Teddy. I think that you, it's this sort of relief, seeing this, because I would imagine almost that your true self was a silent passenger in the background of this other version of yourself, helpless. And you've suddenly been freed, and that's what acts as a buffer for this sanity loss. I would like those of you that failed to go ahead and roll me your D100s.
Oh god.
25.
21.
92.
Oof.
25.
If you could say that with a Scottish accent, please, Karen. for God's sake.
92.
Wayman,
Christ, commit. No, I'm just kidding.
Wayman, you are becoming acutely aware of how hot it is outside of this tomb, and the relative coolness of the temperature below, and you're realizing that if you leave this tomb, you will have to deal with the heat of outside, and that terrifies you. You are afraid of hot temperatures.
It's the Georgia Baptist preacher.
Very specific.
Good thing you're in Egypt.
Right?
Cecily, you got a 21.
21.
Roll me a d6, re-rolling 6s.
I don't know what that means.
Roll a
A
d6.
D6. Okay.
If
I'm
you
Yeah,
get a
6, re-roll.
6, re-roll it.
Yeah.
I got a 1.
You are convinced in this moment. You don't know why or how, but we're going to use that cinematic rack focus again as both versions of Teddy stand up. You look across the room and the focus shifts, and you see Wayman all by himself on the other side, and he's just sort of looking over, having seen this take place. And maybe you see him sort of pulling at his collar a little bit from the heat. that he's suddenly worried about.
Mhm.
And you are convinced that whatever evil lies within this place, it has possessed Wayman.
Oh.
And
Uh-oh.
what did you get, Karen?
92.
That's okay. This surprisingly works with what you've been doing so far. You believe that the power you have been sensing in this place that is harmonizing with your own energies is because you are this energy. You are in human form a god. All right. How are you dealing with these? Wayman, let's start with you as you're realizing that the temperatures become critically important to you.
Yeah, I think that my jacket is off, and I've just tossed it into the dust on the floor. I've loosened my collar. I'm wiping sweat from my brow, but there's probably not actually any sweat there. We gotta keep going. It's anybody else feel hot here? I think we gotta go down. Yeah. I do not, and I keep kind of like glancing back to where we came from, and like maybe inching towards the end of the room a little bit. So,
which means that Cecily and Blackwood would notice that Wayman is inching closer to what appears to be Blackwood's deceased father.
I pull my gun on Wayman, and I just say, "Stop! Stop!"
Why? Look, I can't stay here. We have to go. It's too hot. I cannot be here. We have to keep going.
And we will. Did you see what just happened to Teddy's?
Yeah.
Teddy's.
And something happens in every damn room we are in. So standing here is not gonna help us. We have to keep going.
I at this point kind of frantically lean to Blackwood, and I just say, "There's something wrong with him. There's something wrong with him. He's possessed or something. I think something's wrong with him. I can tell. I can just tell."
I don't know about possessed, but I think he's definitely an asshole.
I just kind of like look back and look at Blackwood. I'm like, no. There's something. He's gonna like.
Know something?
I don't know. He's gonna go nuts at any time or something.
Well,
I can just tell. And I have
just,
him. I still
just
have
stay
my
where
gun out. I'm
yeah.
Yeah.
Just stay where you are, Wayman. We're coming. We'll head down, but we need to be cautious.
All right, I'm fine with that. But we just as long as we do not head back where we came from, we need to continue on. But right. I will be as patient as I can.
Blackwood's going to start to move forward. He's going to try and go towards what he believes to be his father at this point. But he's going to be taking this after seeing all these things that happened. He does try to make a note of what the floor looked like where Teddy stepped both times, and see if there's any kind of indication of, depending on how concealed the trigger was. Was it the center of a tile? Was it was there anything unique about it, or was it just dust covered and you can't really tell or anything like that?
Go ahead and make a spot hidden on that.
All right.
I'll say add a bonus die because you've seen 2 of these traps triggered already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the bonus that made it a lot better. That is a hard success.
You you see that there's no discernible pattern to where the traps are in the floor. In fact, the second one, the one that Teddy just tripped, seems to cross over the design pattern, so it doesn't even fit with the design. It's
Okay.
based on the tiles. But what you noticed is that despite how relatively clean this room is, there's still a layer of dust, and looking closer, that dust has failed to settle into some tiles cracks. So with a close inspection, you can identify which tiles have movement to them.
Okay. So he's going to take out his flashlight and he's going to shine it on the floor and sort of very carefully, methodically sort of make his way across, looking for those sort of seams and avoid them. He's trying to, step, watch, kind of doing this sort of slow sweeping as he goes. And he says to Cicely, just follow in my footsteps. Exactly,
and I-
my footsteps.
I nod again, slightly
and
harder.
and he's going to try and make his way across.
All right. Merid, you feel this power coursing through you. And the combination of the harmonics you were feeling and this completely undeniable sense that you are attuned to the gods. In fact, you are one of the gods, the ancient ones. As you look back where everybody is in this room, as I often do, because it's so easy to help picture something, I'm going to use an anachronism. This is very much the end of the Matrix when Neo is seeing everything in code. You are seeing the ancient energies that are infusing this area. You see the sarcophagi, all 6 of them. You see that there is dark energy concentrated within them that matches your harmonies, that matches this synchronicity that you have with it. But what you also see from that is, in a sort of spectral view that only you can see, these dark energies are reaching out like tentacles towards everyone. But that third sarcophagus on the left that Wayman is closest to, the tentacles are rising out and are grasping, but not quite able to get to Wayman. You also see that when you look at Teddy, you see that there is you see both versions of Teddy standing there. And no matter where these 2 versions of Teddy move, there are what initially looks like hundreds, if not thousands, of strands of energy connecting them. You realize that they're tentacles that are moving back and forth, interweaving between the 2 of them, that whatever this ancient energy is, it's tying these 2 forms together intrinsically. What do you do?
I feel it. I can see everything now. We're so close. We must get there. We must get there now. And I'm
I
going to head towards that
slowly
third one.
turn my gun from Wayman to Merritt. I imagine in the film version of this, I have my gun on Wayman. I turn to Merritt. I look at Blackwood, and then I just kind of slowly turn.
Threat assessment. Very good.
Yep. Priorities. Wayman's being pretty chill right now. Merritt is not.
Teddy, Teddy's.
Teddy's.
Only because I know you're up to the challenge. I'm going to have you role play both versions of yourself.
Yes, dude. Yes.
So
it's final exam time. Let's
how are
go.
you reacting to yourself? And then as everything's sort of unfolding around you.
Oh boy. Okay. So we look exactly this. The teddies. They look exactly the same, like cut and everything.
Yes.
Except one has a shirt open.
Oh, they're both shirtless. They're both shirtless.
Yeah. Immediately. So to make things easy, I'm gonna call the original Teddy Theodore, because that's what he wants to be called, and then Teddy, who's like the asshole. So yeah, Theodore looks around, so shocked and just surprised, and then looks down at himself and almost like tries to like cover himself up a little bit as he's like trying to look around, and he's looking, and he just like, you see, he just slowly looks up at Teddy. You idiot, he like yells out, how could you do this to me? How could you? Why would you say those things? And he's having like a full like panic attack right now at Teddy, and Teddy's just like,
The gun moves again.
Which one's the real one? Say something to prove you're you.
and yeah.
Will the real Slim Teddy please stand up?
What? MVP.
And so yeah, Teddy's just like, what? We're trying to get the treasure. I'm helping you, man. Can't you see this? Look at you and look at this. And like, Theodore's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Look, we both look exactly the same. This is insane. This is crazy. And he's like looking over. He sees Cecily with the gun pointed at
It's pointed at
Wayman,
Merritt. That was a joke.
and then pointing at Merritt. And he's just looking around, and he is just trying to find some focus. That's what he does. He shuts down, and he's trying to find focus back. And so he is going to look at the sarcophagus. He's not going to move, but he wants to look at it, and he sees the writing. So he wants to focus in on deciphering that, until I think he would see Teddy try to move and like, hey, come on, this can be all worked out. He's like trying to start like after Cecily to try and like, I don't know, fix it. But you see that Theodore grabs his arm and is just like, you've done enough. Stay, you and me. And he's just gonna like hold on to his arm and focus back on the hieroglyphs.
So
I've been okay. Real
No,
quick.
you
I've
go
been
ahead,
kinda
go ahead.
Looking at, I've been looking at this out the corner of my eye as I have my gun trained on Merritt, who is going full crazy pants. And I just look. I'm like, and Cecily doesn't know any better. So she's like, Teddy, what's going on over there? Everything good with you both?
So at the exact same time, Teddy says, we're fine, baby doll. And then Theodore says, we're not fine at the exact same time.
And at that moment, and only just at that moment, Cecily realizes there has been a split. And it all like whips into focus exactly what has freaking happened, that they are divided, and that is how they're divided. And I'm like, oh my God, it's all overwhelming.
we're fine, baby doll. We're not fine.
We're fine. We're not fine, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh,
I've got a couple things to resolve because you guys are
Sorry.
in all different places in this room. Merid, you're off on the right, tapping into your god energies, getting a little bit maniacal. Cecily and Teddy and Theodore are all sort of over on the left side, relatively close by. Blackwood has sort of, during this distraction of the two Teddies, has sussed out what's going on with the trapped floor and is making his way over to what appears to be the body of his father, which Wayman is standing relatively close by that, which is also near this far door. Wayman, you feel as you start to move away, trying to get as far away from where you know is the direction of the hot desert sun. As you step away from the sarcophagus, you feel where this amulet, this necklace, this around your neck, you feel it, especially with your jacket off and your shirt collar opened a little bit. You feel it rising up away from your chest and pulling towards the sarcophagus. Merid, you see the spectral tentacles that are grasping onto it and beginning to pull it tighter and tighter. And Wayman, it's pulling hard on your neck without breaking. How do you react to that?
Wayman's he stands up straight, he kind of looks around, he's like, hey, Daddy, I told you I'd bring it back, and I just reach back and I just kind of unclap the clasp on it and release it from the back of my neck.
As you do so, the chain just seems to sort of disconnected, float in the air. And this crucifix is just sort of moving forward. Though it appears to be a Judeo-Christian cross, that it must have some other meaning in whatever this ancient place is. It begins to float forward, and Wayman, you see as the lid of that sarcophagus slides to the side. Of course, Merid, you can see those tentacles pushing that lid out of the way. Blackwood, you're almost to your father's corpse when you see, or rather hear, this crash of the sarcophagus lid slam into the ground. Everybody hears this. What has been happening during this whole time, Cecily, that you've been moving your gun back and forth between whoever seems to be the greatest threat?
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to anybody, except perhaps Merid, who, looking over, would see this amidst all of the other dark energies. Where you are standing, Cecily, is directly beneath where the scything blade slammed into Teddy and Theodore, ripped them apart, and there was this arcing spray of blood that went across the floor and up, splattering up against the ceiling where Teddy was bashed into the ceiling, and then jumped up surprisingly, like, whoo, okay. What's been happening this whole time? Blood has been dripping from the ceiling down onto the shoulders of your shirt or your jacket or whatever you're wearing.
Okay, here's my shirt. It's white.
Damn
it.
But you've been so focused on what's happening, you haven't noticed this.
Oh,
Nor have you noticed that as the blood has been dripping, the drips have hung lower and lower from the ceiling until what's actually happening is long rivulets of blood have connected to your shoulders, and blood is just dripping down like those old oil lamps running down the lines. As you're holding this gun out at whoever you're pointing, probably in the direction of Wayman, with the crashing of the sarcophagus lid.
He possessed, y'all.
you just begin to see the tendrils of blood that are coming out from under your sleeves and moving across your hands
Oh my god.
as
No.
suddenly you feel a tension in your arms and your shoulders.
No.
as
I resist it. I resist it. Oh no.
you are beginning to become, I've been waiting all day to say these words, a bloody marionette.
Oh wow.
I need you to, well, why don't you tell me what you're going to do to try to resist this? And then we'll determine what
So-
kind of a roll you're going to make for this after you make your sanity roll.
Okay. Yeah. Why? Here's what I imagine. So again, cinematic mind. I imagine like she's got the gun out and all of a sudden there's a shot of her from the side and you just see drip, drip, drip. And then just barely she like looks over at her shoulder and sees this bright red blood. And then before she can even react almost, it does the thing that you just described. And she, as soon as it starts to essentially try to make her do something she doesn't want to do, she like just kind of flexes and just tries to resist it. Like I assume it's clenching her hand together. She just resists that like muscularly.
So
And
you're
it's
going to
just,
try
like,
just a
gritting her
pure
teeth.
strength resistance to this
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
Okay, first, I want you to make a sanity roll.
Okay. My sanity is currently at 43 and I just rolled a 42. So this is
Okay.
fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
This is not the most messed up thing I've seen today.
I want you to make me a strength roll.
That's a success.
Okay. You can describe what it looks like as you begin pulling yourself away from these tendrils and you ultimately succeed. I rolled with a bonus die and still got a failure.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Speaking of the Matrix, bullet dodged. Okay. Okay. So I guess Cecily starts to feel like that try to like clench her, specifically her trigger finger. And that kind of like sound is happening just throughout the whole freaking yeah. And Cecily kind of like almost like audibly eventually says no, and like just like kind of rips away from it, like pulls the gun all the way back, and like almost as though these are like physical ribbons, she just like whacks it away like there's like spider webs, and then just like without thinking about the traps possibly that are there, kind of like backs away a few steps, not really knowing which direction is safe to even back away to. She would probably back towards Teddy / Theodore.
And as you break free from these, and absolutely the blood tendrils were
do they
sort
eventually like fall to the ground as
well,
though
they were
frozen?
congregating on your finger trying to pull that trigger as you had that gun leveled at Wayman. And you managed to pull away. You, even with your finger, you pull that away and you pull away from these tendrils. And there's this moment as you're backing away towards the Teddy and Theodore, you hear this sort of these bloody tendrils have a physical form that's hanging and they're whipping around looking for something to grasp onto. But you step back away, and as you do so, in stepping away, you trigger that same scything blade.
Kidding me?
But what it does is it severs the blood tendrils from the ceiling. It passes in front of you, and shoom, and that blood just turns from these physical slashing tendrils into liquid, and it just across the floor, splattering you, Teddy, and Theodore up to the knees with way more blood than should have been there. In this same moment, the sarcophagus that you were nearest
Oh.
all around the room, the other sarcophagi, the lids begin to slide aside until the other lids hit the ground all around. And you all watch as armored skeletal hands reach into the edges up from inside the sarcophagi, gripping the stone so tight it cracks.
Oh.
And these armored forms pull themselves up. And around the room, you see 8-foot tall skeletal figures that are wrapped partially in decaying mummy wrappings, but with the gilded vestments that they were adorned in their death still upon them. Each of them with some sort of a pole arm type weapon rising up and stepping out of these sarcophagi. And you see around the room that some of them have the heads of, one of them has the head of a stork, one of them has the head of a dog, another has the head of a cat. These different animals that are portrayed, one has the head of an ox, a bull, and one of them, the one nearest Wayman, has the head of a serpent. And while the other 5 step out of the sarcophagi to the sides, the one nearest Wayman steps forward, reaches out a hand, and as it bends down, as it reaches forward and grabs the floating amulet that Wayman had, as it grasps it, it sort of dissipates. Though, Merid, you can see this energy. The physical form is gone. You see the energy re-manifest. And then you all watch as this amulet, much larger than the amulet itself, appears emblazoned across the sternum of this ancient warrior. Looking down at Wayman, its tongue flicking out. It hisses something. Both Merid and Teddy and Theodore understand that it said, "You are absolved from your sins."
Ooh. I'm
Then
glad this has a happy ending for Wayman.
all 6 of the figures at once turn their attention to Merid.
Ooh.
They all snap their pole arms to the ground in unison. They stomp one foot as they all turn in whatever direction to face Merid. And then in one motion, they all drop to one knee and bow their heads, placing one arm across the knee at Merid's direction. And that is where we are going to end tonight's session.
We're gonna have to kill Merid, y'all.
Oh man!
You and
Welcome,
one
Scryer
army.
Vision, for the
I've
raid.
got one now.
You got a literal army.
Well, we got 5 Waymans and 2 Theodores.
Yeah.
Apparently, I have
Blackwood and I are the only single Pringles now.
Nobody has hands, but we have
Yeah.
plenty of other usses.
I have a thing for multiple iterations of self and damaged hands.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I might have to
Nice.
delve into that with my next meeting with my therapist.
Right.
What is? I have a thing with hands. My friends brought it up. I don't even know.
I didn't even realize it until this.
Yeah,
So
everybody
that
stands.
was session 5 of Curse of the Mummy Lord. I can say with certainty that there are only 2 sessions left in this mini campaign. I cannot say with certainty that all 6 of them now, counting both Teddies, both Theodore and Teddy, that all 6 of them will make it to that final session.
Oh my god!
I didn't think Teddy was making it to the next section.
No.
So,
I was just gonna say we've never had a death mid campaign.
I had the screens queued up, so just in case.
So there were a few points where obviously Teddy or Theodore as Teddy almost bit it, but used that sort of Hail Mary that you proposed to burn all of the dice, and then in the moment the cost I came up with was that you broke the personalities and now they coexist.
That's a good one.
Because why not?
Yeah.
Making M play 2 characters for this.
I can do it.
But there's additional places where it was simply a roll of the dice that determined that somebody was going to survive something.
Wow.
I mean, if you hadn't broken free of the marionette blood tendrils, the first thing that was going to happen was you were going to fire on Wayman, who you had the gun leveled at. And we don't know what would have happened from there. So, and we certainly don't know what's going to happen now that 6 8-foot tall ancient warriors have just bent the knee before Merid, who thinks she's a god and may actually be a god.
I have the power. Yes.
First action of the next session, killed him.
So I will say that between Dwight and I, we'll keep you on social media informed when the next session is coming. It's generally we play once a month, but we've got some tricky schedules to work around. So I would say anytime in the next 4 to 8 weeks, we'll have our next session, schedules permitting, and we'll just keep you updated on when that's going to be. So before I turn it over to Dwight, I just want to thank Alex, Carrie, Dwight, M, and Karen just for being the awesome players that you are. As we make shit up together, we just have fun with it, rolling some dice and telling some weird stories. And
that's definition.
Big bearded nerd. We make shit up.
We
together.
make shit up together.
And what was it that you said? It broke me earlier. I think Staffin clipped it, but you said because I've got two slapping hands tonight.
I got slappers only. That was a GoldenEye reference for you N64 fans, 90s babies. Ayo.
I got slappers only. Oh my gosh, that was so good. All right.
Yeah, hang on, everybody. I know we just had a raid from Scrivers, and thank you so much for stopping in. Hang on, because we're going to raid over to a friend of mine, the Black Christie, who is a mini painter, who's just recently started streaming. So, as we have done here in the past, I would love it if y'all could hang out for this stream and drop her a follow when we drop over there. So. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight. We love this game. Again, we will be back as soon as we can. We got to figure out schedules here. We'll try and do something in June, and then hopefully wrap up in July, but get this one wrapped up in the summer, and then we'll figure out what the next round of Mythos Tales will be, but we got to finish this one up first. I'll be back here tomorrow with International House of Minis, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Come hang out with me and Lloyd and Petra and Keel as we paint minis and talk about whatever the hell's on our mind. So we're going to finish up here and then hang out for that raid. We will see y'all very soon. Have a good night, everybody.